Welcome to this week's PromoChat Deep Dive. This week we're very excited because we have Carrie and Katie from Alpha Broder. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's such our pleasure. We had a fabulous conversation where we talked about social media strategies, and we loved your answers so much that we want to go beyond 280 characters and ask you some questions about it. Perfect. So the question we asked was, does your company have a social media strategy, or are you flying by the seat of your pants? If you have one, how did you develop it? If you don't, what's stopping you? And so you came in and you said, we are currently in the process of revamping our social strategy to include both Alpha Broder and Primeline. There is a lot of trial and error involved. Every month, our social team comes together to discuss what worked and what we can improve. So my first question is, how did you, these are two very different companies. Like apparel is very different than hard goods. So when you sat down and did your strategy, like what did you think about? Like how did you come to them, and how do you see them as different?
Well, it hasn't just been like one conversation where we've decided, okay, this is how we're gonna like present this like social media for both Primeline and AB. It's been a bunch of conversations, still an ongoing conversation,
Still a learning process.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it is a lot of trial and error. For right now, I think with the apparel side, we try to focus mostly on like themes and how different like our different private brands might fit into a theme. And we do it's more, our content is more private brand focused, and then every once in a while we'll promote one of our mills. And then with the hard goods side with Primeline, it's more specific to the actual product. And then in the copy, we kind of like try to explain how you might sell this product for a specific promotion. Like if it's like a pull top or like one of the little things like this, then we usually would hand these out to like a college students or a tech promotion or something like that. So it's really so we haven't really done a like crossover. We're deciding to keep the AB and the Primeline separate on social media, because there are two. We are now serving two different customers. But we do also we're working on like a crossover campaign. And Katie, do you want to?
So we had right now, like with Primeline and Alpha Broder, we're still treating the companies technically, separately. They're still their own individual company. However, we've been promoting how to incorporate apparel and hard goods together. And right now we've been working on what's called Complete the Solution. So basically what it is it's taking, a hard good product like this phone pocket thing here. I don't know the exact terminology.
It's probably like a super precise term of it, and you're like, oh, did everyone have called it that?
Yeah, it's this, and like this is one of our pieces, and it's like saying, okay, and just coming up with a different scene of a scenario of how this and this shirt would go together, and it's like called Complete the Solution. Like just today, we did a photo shoot of a Primeline gym bag, and then one of our
full zip.
Was it a full zip?
Mm-hmm.
One of our full zips, and put it together. We have a gym here, and we had a guy here pose.
One of our employees. Yeah.
So that's kind of how like we're incorporating it. Both of them.
So for them, like a post like that, we'd post on both channels.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we'll post like infographics, the same infographic on both channels. But when it comes to the specific product, we keep it separate.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I know for my company, like we have two different sides of it. We have our SIG water bottle, like it's a Swiss brand, it's high end, it's retail. And then we have our acrylic award side, which are custom, do everything else. And it's totally weird to have them together, but they still work. But I find when I'm managing or planning out or doing strategy for each, it's like I feel like I have to literally click my brain back and forth between them, because you're right, they're different audiences, they're different messages, they're different like storytelling approaches. And so yeah, it's interesting, like especially because your stuff works really well. I love that concept of complete the solution, is like you unify your message a lot more, but it is very well having the two platforms to make sure that you get as much coverage on it as possible.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And there's also so like 3 separate customers, I guess, that so you have your customers that are just buying apparel, and you have your customers that are just buying hard goods, and then you have your customers that are buying both apparel and hard goods. So we have to like cater to both, and we can't exclude any of those 3 customers.
Well, also too, what we're doing, this has been a very, with 2 companies like this, the transition has been a slowly but surely process. So we're eventually, long term, are going to try to, what Carrie said, if they're specific just hard goods or specific just apparel, try to incorporate how do we get those customers to kind of switch, try to get them to do both.
How do you get them all into the middle ground?
Right. So that's eventually our plan. We're slowly getting specific reps to start selling that from the apparel side, start selling hard goods, and then vice versa, having the hard good reps sell some apparel. So I'm sure long term we'll be doing both, all in one. But it's been a challenge, a good challenge for the both of us, especially when you're coming from different marketing teams as well. You have Primeline has their own marketing team, and then you have Alpha Broder. So it's also for us been trying to make balance both, both sides.
Yeah. You get a lot of personalities and thoughts and opinions, and how do you like distill it down? So that kind of goes to my question, is like, how do you have your team approaches? Is like everyone in there, and it's kind of just a smorgasbord of idea, and everyone picks up and like you refine it? Or like, are you like, do you distill it down to just 2 of you and you're like, these are our thoughts, go back to our teams? Like, how do you approach your team meetings that way?
How do you want to take that? That's a good question.
It's a lot. I mean, so social, there's like, the reps are also very involved in social media as well. So they have an advantage because they get to talk directly to the customer. So they have a better idea of what the customers are looking for. So, I'm always open to hearing what other ideas there are out there, because sometimes, I just get like stuck in my own head. It's hard to come up with like something creative. So I'm always welcoming new ideas. So in the actual meeting, we'll narrow it down based on what has worked in the past, or what other companies are doing or brands are doing that might have worked for them. And it's like, again, it's trial and error, and like
So what we'll do, like for meetings too, of the content that you see that we post, we'll put ideas out for that particular month. I mean, we try to plan ahead for social
a month in advance.
And so, and sometimes we'll have, like, Carrie's already working, and I should be working on it too, but for March. And what we do is we both have she does all the contents for Facebook,
Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest,
all that,
LinkedIn,
all that fun stuff, and I'm common skill.
YouTube, Vimeo, the whole spectrum of it.
And so we try to have it all done in a month in advance to give people like the Primeline marketing team and our marketing team time to look over and review and make comments, tell us what they do or don't like. And sometimes that can take, a couple weeks, a couple days, a couple weeks, depending on the time.
I will say it is a bit of a challenge working with 2 marketing teams that have already, especially on the Primeline side, they've already established their social media presence, I feel like. So we're trying, they're kind of like, it's a lot of compromise, and people, like, our ideas might be good for like one side, like the alpha broader side, but in the Primeline side might not be like on it. So it's like, it's a lot of give and take.
Yeah,
and
it's a give and take relationship.
Yeah.
There's a lot of compromising here. So it's just a lot of what Carrie said. We do a lot of research on, out there of, what is getting people's attention. And then we'll present it to our bosses, and they'll say, I like that idea, I don't like that idea. And if they don't like that idea, I try to push it. I'm like, well, come on, like, let's give it a
That's
try.
your risk side of things.
Right. And then,
Come on, let's try it.
and that's another pushing, like, our boss is usually like, they want to be on the more conservative side, understand. But with social, I find that there is a lot of risk, and you do have to do like try things out to see if they'll work or they won't work. So it's like just balancing it a little bit.
Yeah, interesting, because it's an organization your size will need to have so much pre-planning, while at the same time you want to have most of your social feel really organic and engaged. So like getting that balance while you still have that structure, whereas like my situation is like, if I want it, I do it. So I do not envy you ladies at all on sort of the planning and the growth and the, what do we make a shotgun approach and what do we make a sniper approach on just sort of talking to people.
Yeah, someone like my personality, I'm more of I feel what's in the moment.
You're the fly by the seat of your pants.
I'm the fly by the seat of your pants girl, and she's the opposite. Like she plans and ahead, which makes me jealous.
I think it's a good balance.
It's a good balance.
You need the two sides of that for like relationships to work.
Exactly. So it's been a challenge for me personally, planning ahead and being creative, because I feel like I just have to feel like what feels right in that moment. So challenge for me is planning.
Yeah.
But it's good because it's been actually it's been increasing that not negative, that
not negative, but it's been increasing your
not negative. Well, I'm trying to think, what was the right word? Oh, it's like a weakness that I have, is like being in the social marketing team, for being prepared like a month in advance has helped increase that increase the weakness that I have.
Yeah, you know what? No, Katie, I'm keeping this in because I totally get what you're trying to say. Don't worry. I know that feeling is like, because you want to be able to plan ahead, and it's so good if like, I think a lot of people in this industry don't know what to do with social, so they keep it on a very reactionary basis. But when you don't have that, or you don't have a strategy, it can often be the thing that kind of gets bumped down lower and lower on your to-do list. So you having Carrie being like, we're making a list.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm doing the planning, kind of backs it up.
Keeping me in line.
Yeah, and especially for a large organization like you, is like your message has to be consistent. So laying it all out, whether or not it's exactly what you tweet, Facebook, Instagram each day, making sure that your tone, your voice, everything is on track. Like there's so much value in that. I'm not cutting it out, because I think what you're trying to say is fantastic, because it is like a lot of people, and that was what came out in the chat, is not everyone has a strategy on what they're doing, but even just sitting down and writing out a strategy, whether you stick to it or not, there's so much power in that pre-plan in what you're doing.
Oh, for sure.
I agree.
Even going back once we have our meetings, going back into the content calendar, I have such a better idea of how I'm going to plan out the rest of my month after we've had that meeting, because it's like we've kind of reestablished, each time we have a meeting, we reestablish a new strategy. So it's because marketing strategy, or for the social marketing strategy, it's living document. It's like constantly changing. But
it should be constantly changing. If you're doing the same thing in December that you wrote down in January, you're not in a good place. Like it means you didn't watch what was going on.
No, I totally agree.
How do you so at the end of the month, do you look back over your numbers and go, this was surprisingly popular, this one fell flat, or was there one where you're just like, I'm breaking the internet with this message. It's going to be amazing. And you're like, 2?
Oh, that happens all the time. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
And no, it's funny.
Genius is wasted on you people.
Right.
I know that hurts when you put like so much energy and effort into a post and it gets like nothing or very little engagement. I'm like, oh.
It's funny because a lot of the times actually, posts that I think like are just going to be a total flop, like wind up getting more engagement than I could have ever like imagined. And like the opposite is true too. It's like, well, how do I like decide what's good? Like, what content is going to get enough like attention?
So then maybe all your flops are actually really good.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know. Don't
Maybe you just fail up here.
We have been starting like sweepstakes, and those we like set out like a plan and a goal, like a metric goal.
a lot of planning.
Yeah, and then so I find that with campaigns, it's usually good to like plan ahead, have like a set goal of like numbers that you want to achieve, and that's really a great way to measure your success.
Yeah.
So how do you measure your success? Because what I find is like engagement sometimes happens offline, but I can see that because I'm a small office. So on the larger side, how do you measure your success? Like what metrics do you use within the platforms? And do you have any metrics or communications with your reps, with your clients, to sort of figure out what's working outside of that? Like, I know that's kind of 2 large questions, but what do you do for that?
Well, for common SKU side, I don't know if you experience this, but there's not a lot of like metrics on the common SKU side. So it's kind of I'm trying to build up something on my own, to see how many engagements, how many people have like commented and liked, and how many new followers that you may get. I know it's completely different than the social side, but what I do is on the side of outside of common SKU is, on the common SKU platform, I email reps, the insights page that we have. I'll email them all the activity that would benefit their sales to their customer, and let them know like, hey, did you know so-and-so Kate is working on this opportunity, just in case, here's what she's working on. Let me know if there's any updates and stuff. And I get a lot of feedback. I'll get emails saying, I had no idea like that she was working on this. I called her. We ended up landing the sale. So I get a lot of feedback from the emails, saying how much they appreciate those extra from the sales team, how much they appreciate me reaching out to them about the customer activity.
That extra sort of engagement beyond like sitting back and waiting for the orders to roll in kind of thing is
that page on that site, that insights page is such a huge tool. Like it's such like a great asset, and not everybody on the Alpha Broder reps are using common SKU, so they're very, very appreciative when I reach out to them with that information to follow up with their customer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, so Carrie, what do you do on like the other side of it?
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, I totally did. It's like, what do you do with it's kind of that idea of like, what do you do with the information you're given? And the same way, like, how do you figure out what's popular and what's moving? And that's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the insights page has been really helpful for us and the team. So I know it's working in that way. And then I do get emails from customers from common SKU, which I love. I love when I get a customer email from common SKU. I'm like, oh my God, I did something right.
Yeah, it totally works.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I did something right. So, but yeah, I do that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
For my side, I find that we get the most growth and the most rapid growth when we have campaigns. It's like, if we're just like publishing month to month content, it's like a steady increase, but in order to actually like big growth all at once, I guess.
But like having those metrics is super important, like, and so that people you don't become background noise. Is like you have it at level
it comes in. I find that if we do like spurts of content, then that like people react more to that. What was the original question?
Oh, it's just sort of like how do you grab what do you do to grab your metrics on the site, and what do you do to grab them off? Like what, when you get it like a super popular post, do you send it to your reps and be like, hey, this is who was engaging with this, and your clients, like, here's the opportunity to talk. Like, because social is such a different thing than common SKU where it's this active selling, do you have, like, what's your engagement level with your reps about what's working? Do you have anything like that, or are you like, that's a really good idea, Kate?
I was actually thinking, I'm like, huh?
We have some like things like that. We just launched like a video series called Ask AB Anything, and it's all it's like our reps talking about like answering a frequently asked question.
Those are good.
Thank you. And every time they're posted, they're all on Vimeo, and I send the link out to our reps, and if they want to use it for their own purposes, they can just download it on Vimeo. But and I mean, also we've also gotten like emails from some people, from like some of our customers saying like, oh, this was like a cool campaign or something that you ran, and that's also how I know if it's a good successful campaign, if I'm like hearing actual feedback from other people.
When someone's taken the effort to send an email on that.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess
I'm doing a good job. Well, awesome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us for our deep dive chat with PromoChat. We remember everyone, it happens every Wednesday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We also want to thank our sponsor, Maple Ridge, for sponsoring the deep dive. We love being partners with them.
We love Maple Ridge. They're so sweet.
They're so sweet. So, ladies, where can we find you on the internet?
Well, me personally,
websites, Twitter, Common SKU.
We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram on the Alpha Birder side, and then Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram on the Primeline side, Vimeo as well.
And then me, the famous Katie Meenan, can be found on Common SKU. And my email, you can contact me at any time, kmeenan@alphabroder.com.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, ladies, and thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again Wednesday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Kate. It was nice talking with you.
Wonderful. Thanks, ladies.
Bye.
Thank you.